Should we flag it off? Okay. Good evening, my esteemed faculty and respected members of the fraternity who have joined us for the live session on how to crack 3.0 assessment tests. Myself, C.A. Guncha Dhawan, a member of Amritsar branch NIRC. A warm welcome to you all from the Digital Accounting and Assurance Board. Many thanks to C.A. Charanjot Singh Nanda, Chairman DAAB ICAI, and C.A. Dayanivas Sharma, Vice Chairman DAAB ICAI, who is in absenteeism as of today, for allowing us to hold this virtual program. I extend our warmest greetings to our felicitous speakers, Professor Kapil Suri and Dr. Omkar Nath, who will be our torchbearers for today's session. Information systems audit has gained undeniable relevance due to the unparalleled role of IT in our day-to-day lives. So before we dig into the session further, here's a brief snippet of C.A. Charanjot Singh Nanda Sir's contributions and accomplishments. Sir is presently designated as the Chairman of Digital Accounting and Assurance Board, ICAI, also the Chairman of South Asian Federation of Accountants, Chairman of Internal Audit Standards Board, ICAI, the Vice Chairman of Banking, Financial Services and Insurance Committee, ICAI. Sir has also been a member of the Central Council of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, Chairman and Vice Chairman of various esteemed committees, member of the Quality Review Board, member of SEBI Advisory Committee on Primary Market and Committee on Mutual Funds, convener of the expert groups constituted by the Ministry of Corporate Affairs, member of South Asian Federation of Accountants, member, chairman and treasurer of NIRC. Academically, he has also contributed as guest speaker on IFRS, Effective Communications and Forensic Accounting at Surrey, Canada, British Columbia chapter of ICAI. He has also headed presentations before government bodies, HR professionals, and disciplinary committee, to name a few. Now, I would like Nanda sir to just welcome and open the session today.
Thanks a lot, Guncha. I'm sorry I have a technical glitch and therefore my video is not working.
All
but
right.
Nevertheless, it is always a proud privilege to speak to you all on this momentous occasion. Professor Dr. Kapil Kumar Suri and Dr. Omkar Nath, both of you have been contributing immensely for the cause of this profession. DAB shall ever remain indebted to you for your contributions in making people understand the system audits. My heartfelt thanks to the moderator of the session, Madam Guncha Dhawan, to the DAB, to Amit Gupta, the secretary, and Ayaz, the technical support, and more importantly, chartered accountants who have joined here to go home more enlightened. Ladies and gentlemen, information system audit is a very important facet of audit. Let me start by saying that Reserve Bank of India called us and discussed with us that why can't the Institute of Chartered Accountants become the regulator for all information system audits and cyber security audits that are conducted in India. It means that an engineer doing it, it means that a lawyer doing it, it means that a company secretary, ICW, any professional doing an information system audit, if mandated by Reserve Bank of India, shall come under the regulatory ambit of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. Today's very important function. You are all aware that number of members want to do information system audit course, and close to 34,000 members in India are information system auditors, qualified the DISA exams by India. So, ladies and gentlemen, now we have changed to 3.0 version, and for that, we are trying to educate the entire membership in the country, and particularly people who want to write their exams in 3.0. Two sets of people who have registered at 3.0 and people who will migrate from 2.0 to 3.0. So this webinar becomes very pertinent, as all across the people would want to join and to understand the basic fallacies, the basic intricacies related to the version 3.0. I would like to tell you that ISA, we conduct ISA for Sri Lanka, for Nepal and other countries. I'm the chairman of SAFA, Southern Asian Federation of Accountants IT Committee. And all across these countries, there is a call from them that they want to understand forensics and information system audit from us. It would not be out of place to mention that your institute, the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, under the aegis of Digital Accounting and Assurance Board, has promulgated 23 forensic standards, which shall be made mandatory from 1st July 2023. In this regard, I would like to tell you that yesterday we have hosted the public disclosure form, including all details of the standards and guidance note, which is proposed to be released on 1st July 23. This public exposure shall ensure that all of you can give your suggestions how we can take the things forward. So, ladies and gentlemen, you are in exciting hands. This profession, particularly the technology side, will put you at a point where you start understanding and using things to your benefit. I'm reminded of a couplet which says, "Ghar khairat mein milti kamyabi to har shakhs kamyab hota hai. Ghar khairat mein milti kamyabi to har shakhs kamyab hota hai. फिर कदर ना होती किसी हुनर की और ना ही कोई लाजवाब होता." If you want to become outstanding, if you want to create value and worth for your professional endeavors, please be close to technology. And when you are an audit man, be close to information system audit. Qualify this exam. Both the speakers are people who have a very great interest and great exposure in making chartered accountants information system auditors. So my best wishes for today's program. We'll have more such programs in times to come, I promise, because the AT would happen in July. But before that, we are intending to hold 2 training sessions, full day training sessions at least. It can be 3 also. So, ladies and gentlemen, looking forward to your great success in clearing the DISA exams. Thanks a lot. I give back the dais to Guncha Dhawan for further proceedings. Guncha, the dais is all yours now. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Heading forward, I present to you our first in-house speaker, Professor Kapil Suri, an international corporate trainer, consultant, business coach, and faculty in the domain of information technology and management. He boasts a prodigious record of achievements and flagships. Sir will be dispensing the first leg of the session till 7:30 p.m., followed by a round of quick Q&As from our assemblage. Next up would be Dr. Omkar Nath, security strategist. He's also greatly revered in his field of study and practice for his indigenous and global exploits. He also has an elaborate record of achievements for inspiring the soul. Sir will be heading the session to its culmination till 9 p.m., inclusive of Q&As for the respective segment. And both our in-house speakers, they boast a huge record of their own accomplishments and degrees, which pretty much would take long for me if I start elaborating it. So I hand over the session to Professor Kapil Suri now.
Yeah, thank you, Gunjan. Kindly confirm I am properly audible.
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Yeah, very good. Thank you. Ayaz, I hope you received my presentation. Great. Gunjan, kindly confirm on behalf of all that my screen
Very
is
much.
accessible.
It is visible, sir.
That is visible.
Oh, so kind of you. So kind of you, Nanda, sir. So once again, good evening to all of you. As well as I hope all of you started preparing for this one of the most wanted, not only the examination, but one of the most wanted domain where all of you not only want to expertise, but going to play the key role in upcoming digital India. Because whenever and wherever we are using this term digital India, I think chartered accountant who is enabled with the technology going to be the game changer. Now, like Nanda sir has already mentioned that since August 2021, we already migrated from ISA 2.0 to ISA 3.0. Are you sure, Ayaz? I'll help you. Okay. ISA 2.0 to ISA 3.0. Now, there is not a much of difference. We only concern about on behalf of the DAB that to enhance or improve the productivity of each and every member as per the current need, current requirement of the business scenario, as well as what the business organizations are expecting during the IS audit from the IS auditor, as per the current trend of the technology with the business. So we try to incorporate all those emerging areas into ESA 3.0. Now, here the target at this moment for you people, for which you people are very much concerned about and listen. That is, I ask humble request, kindly change the screen. I ask kindly. I ask kindly, Arunda. Okay, thank you. So, those of you already enrolled into ESA 2.0 and now going to appear into ESA 3.0, as well as those who are already into ESA 3.0. Now, according to the institute is strictly defined the weightage with respect to each and every module under ESA 3.0. There are total 6 modules we define, and with respect to each and every module, according to final examination that is 80, which going to be held upcoming July on 8th of July. The weightage is clearly defined. I hope all of you able to see onto my screen, onto your respective screen. Like module 1 having the weightage 18%, module 2 having the weightage 16%, module 2 having the weightage 18% again, module 4 again having the 18%, then module 5 having the maximum weightage that is 22%, and then module 6 having 8%. Okay, as well as now all of you well versed, those who already attempted and those who are going to attempt the first time. Examination is purely MCQ pattern. Total there are 200 questions. And with respect to those 200 questions, like institute as well as committee strictly define the weightage with respect to each and every module. Like for example, module 1, if it is 18%, then 18% of 200, that is 36. Okay. So in the same manner, you can distribute with respect to each and every module. Now, as well as institute clearly define the prerequisite to qualify this examination. Earlier, it was 75%, which now on member request and the weight, considering or giving the privilege to the member committee as well as the board, they revise the weightage from 75% now to 60%. So minimum to clear this examination out of 200, each and every member must to score minimum 120, which according to me is not a difficult task. If honestly you people, I'm just going to share with you some of the tips. And if honestly you people going to follow even now onwards also, just like the IPL, if you apply in place along with the planning, a strategic way to prepare yourself and set the target for next 15 to 20 days and last 1 week for revision, I'm 100% sure that many of you not only going to clear, but many of you going to score maximum during this examination. This is because this is purely based on concept. Nothing you have to mug. If your concepts are clear, then you find yourself much more comfortable to attempt each and every question I'm telling you. Yes, I ask kindly just move to the next screen. Now, from my side, based on my experience, based on my intelligence, and based on my involvement with the institute as well as and as well as with respect to this particular course. Now there are some fundamental mantra because according to me, ultimately at the end of the day, all of you just want to clear this examination. So just keep in mind there are few things. If honestly you people going to follow. Now the first point, according to me, now institute clearly defined the whole course in 6 modules. So this is my humble request to each one of you. Please kindly, please and please again, I'm this is my humble request. Please go through each and every concept defined in each and every module thoroughly, because institute won't ask anything which is not defined, which is not declared by the institute. So everything would be strictly according to the syllabus. So kindly just go through each and every concept. Now, if I'm saying the concept, then please go through in depth each and every concept. Okay, like here, even into the second point, like I mentioned. Now, there is one more thing which I observed, as well as many of us also observed, that many times many members they consider, especially both with IAS audit and forensic audit, and especially with IAS audit, that they feel like that institute is trying to prepare them like an IT professional. But please, again, from this examination point of view and from this course point of view, again, this my humble request, please don't be misconfuse yourself. Chartered accountant, and always you people going to remain a chartered accountant. In place of using the term chartered accountant, I'm addressing to all of you as an auditor. So this is my humble again request to all of you. From this examination point of view, please think like an IS auditor. Means here the keyword is auditor, and all of you know that what basically is the role of auditor. Auditor is not responsible to create the business cycle with respect to any business organization. Auditor is not responsible to execute the business cycle. Auditor even is not responsible that during the execution, if there is any type of technical glitch, so to resolve and overcome. Auditor is only responsible that at the end of the business cycle to review the entire business organization with respect to the productivity, with respect to efficiency, with respect to effectiveness, as well as with respect to the security aspect. So auditor is always concerned about the review. So here from this examination point of view, when you people going to attempt each and every question, then please kindly think like an IS auditor. Don't think like an IT professional. IT professional job is to design or develop the application. Auditor job is to review. Okay. Then here, please come to my third point, which keep in mind you people, I just clearly mentioned. I hope you people are getting through. I while preparing this document, I was looking each and every member who is highly experienced, member who is just pass out, and which are the common type of the vulnerability they people face while preparing for this examination. And intentionally, I use this term vulnerability. There are many questions. Please go through each and every MCQ thoroughly. Now, this is not, I'm telling you from the preparation point of view. Even during the examination, please go through each and every question. Like there are total 200 questions, and many times many member ask me as well as many of us. Okay, there is no negative marking. Let me again remind you. There is no negative marking because many of the members regularly they ask to DAB also, they ask to the respective faculties also that whether there is a negative marking. So there is no negative marking. So please kindly just go through each and every question from IS auditor point of view and thoroughly read the question. Okay. Then what about here? Like the next point number 4. Please kindly concentrate here. I mentioned that please check keyword in each and every MCQ. Now, what do you mean by this keyword? Now, number one, you have to read each and every question from IS auditor point of view. Then number two, in each and every question, you will find some keyword. Keyword like, for example, best. Keyword like, for example, most. Keyword like not. So, and those of you already attempted this examination, they all would be agree with me that this keyword you will find frequently in almost every second question, like most, best, not. Now, why I'm using this? Now, examination is purely MCQ. Now, MCQ means what? Like many times people are puzzled with this also. Although with respect to each and every MCQ, you will find the four option, but out of four, that doesn't mean three are incorrect. Objective is all four are correct, but which one is most appropriate? So you will find the keyword like best. Okay. So according to the scenario which is defined into the question into the MCQ, which condition would be the best suitable? So all four would be correct, but which one is the best? Similarly, not. So same you can apply vice versa here. So please kindly give weightage to the keyword. We are not into the session, that's why I'm not elaborating much. But you people, if face any such type of the issue, please even you people can knock later on. Please come on to here the next point. Now what about here? What a moment before I mentioned that you people have to prepare yourself as well as you people have to attempt this examination as an IAS auditor. And again, I hope all of you would agree with me. Like I default consider that all of you, even those of you just started the career also. So they all of you having at least one audit experience. Okay. And especially as a chartered accountant, then all of you would agree with me that chartered accountant is the only person whom we consider who is a subject matter expert with a one particular skill. With respect to that particular skill, we consider that chartered accountant. An auditor would be the leading, which is known as RA, that is risk assessment. Okay. And now, whenever we'll think about the risk assessment, now risk assessment contain two terms. One is risk, another is assessment. Okay. Now, whenever we'll think about the term risk, then all of you would agree with me. Parallel, we think about two more terms. That is, number one is V, and number two is T. V stands for vulnerability, and T stands for threat. Okay. And now, again, all of you would agree with me. Until unless there is no vulnerability, then there is no existence of threat. And with respect to the risk, we always we always evaluate the probability of occurrence of the risk. Okay. And now there is one more thing. Please kindly pay attention from the examination point of view. Vulnerability is always within the system. So, with respect to any business organization, okay, whether that organization is a large scale organization or whether that organization is a proprietor based organization or whether that organization is SME or MSME, okay, each and every organization they're having a full control over their vulnerability. Okay. But if organization unable to overcome the vulnerability, then default occurrence or probability of threat with respect to those vulnerability would be high. One vulnerability, they have multiple point of view. We always concern about, we all related to the threat, related to the risk. Okay, that is CONTROL, that is control. Okay, and now whenever we'll think about the control, then default will think about that broadly there are three type of control. Okay, like number one, environmental control, number two, external control, number third, internal control. Okay. And again, all these controls are further classified are of two types. Some controls are physical, some controls are logical. Then again, internal controls further classified are of three types. That is number one, preventive, number two, detective, and number third, corrective. Please kindly, why I'm using this? Now, into the question, in each and every question, like I mentioned, you have to think from IS auditor point of view, an auditor always check vulnerability, all auditor always check threat, auditor always check risk. So in each and every question you will find either the focus area would be related to vulnerability, focus area would be related to threat, focus area would be related to risk. Okay, and then maybe sometime focus area is related to the weakness of the control. Okay, now if there is a weakness in the control, then default, all of you would agree with me again, as a chartered accountant, as an auditor, that there is no mean, no existence of control without policy. Okay, means whenever we perform control assessment, then default strength of the control we always test, strength of the control we always check based on the type of the associated policy defined. Even with respect to one control, even we define multiple policy. So into the question, please, this is my humble request. Please kindly concentrate thoroughly whether the focus area is vulnerability. Okay, whether the question is based on vulnerability, whether the question is based on threat. Now, if it is vulnerability, then something is lacking within the system of the business organization. Okay. And now here we concern about IS audit. Okay. Then now here there are two things. Please kindly pay attention. Now, whenever we'll think about IS and IT infrastructure, then all of you would agree with me that IS and IT infrastructure we always need or require to enhance or improve the productivity or efficiency of the business. That business should be more and more efficient and business should be more and more effective. Okay. Now, what about here? We always concern about from the auditor point of view that business objective is equal to IS plus IT implementation. Means whenever we'll think about IS and IT infrastructure to implement with respect to any business organization, as well as now from IS auditor point of view, like if organization already implemented a particular type of IS and IT infrastructure. Okay. So like if we'll consider the case of the banking organization, bank like State Bank of India. Okay. Now State Bank of India, before 4 decades, nobody once heard about the CBS system. Now, especially all the senior chartered accountants. Okay, that before 4 decades, nobody once heard about the CBS system. Now, if nobody heard about the CBS system, then nobody concerned about that one customer can able to avail the services through the multiple branches. Okay, and if nobody heard about the CBS system, then nobody heard about the Finacle. Okay, and if nobody heard about the Finacle, then nobody think heard about the Infosys. And Infosys, with respect to any banking organization, would come under the category of a vendor organization, which is a subject matter expert to design or develop the software application. Okay, nobody heard about the FlexCube. FlexCube application initially designed developed by an Indian startup, which later on acquired by the Oracle, that is iFlux Mumbai based. Now it is under umbrella of Oracle. Okay. Similarly, TCS Bank. So all this software application used by each and every banking organization at this moment, because without Finacle, either without Finacle or without TCS Bank or without FlexCube, there is no implementation of CBS system. But no bank is a subject matter expert to design or develop any software application like a CBS. And CBS is nothing, but it is a pure ERP application. Okay. And now there are two types of information system. One information system is data oriented. Another information system is process oriented. And ERP is process oriented. And ERP application is purely designed, developed by the third party service provider. And all of you would agree with me again from the auditor point of view. If any business process, because with whenever we'll think about any business organization, then the backbone of each and every business organization, whether it is a banking, whether it is insurance, whether it is any manufacturing unit, whether it is any service organization, okay, whatever it's so. Right now, time won't allow. So, backbone of each and every business organization would be a business model, okay, and within the business model, we integrated multiple business processes, okay. So, with respect to any business organization, business model and business process are a valuable asset. Okay. And to enhance or improve the productivity of the business process, organization think about to implement IS and IT infrastructure. Business process, like for example, if we'll consider the case of manufacturing, the purchase, production, procurement, if we'll consider the case of the banking, okay, then home loan is a one type of a business process. Automobile is a one type of a business process. If we'll consider the case of a chartered accountant, okay, then with respect to the direct taxation, TDS computation, 26 years computation, all these are the different type of the process. Now, whenever we'll think about the automation like the e-filing, okay, as well as the GST implementation. So now process created by the Central Board of Direct Taxation, process any bank organization, but for automation, software application designed, developed by third party service provider. That third party service provider may be Infosys, that third party service provider may be TCS or any IT company, as well as to run any software application need required IT infrastructure. Now, whenever we'll think about the IT infrastructure, then need required hardware, software, as well as the networking support. Okay. Now, different hardware would be designed, manufactured by n number of different manufacturers. Okay. Similarly, the networking would be implemented as well as software application with respect to any business organization would be implemented. Implemented means installation, configuration, okay, maintenance would perform by the third party service provider. So now, if with respect to the business process, which is a valuable asset for any business organization having a huge dependency over IS and IT infrastructure. Because under the current scenario, I hope all of you would agree with me, each and every business organization is strictly follow the punchline. That data is the lifeline and technology is the driver. Okay. And wherever the data is generating, okay, then to capture this data, to store this data, to process this data, to analyze this data, and finally, after processing, when this data would be converted into the relevant information, that is the report, okay, then for all this need required a huge IS and IT infrastructure support, and all this support they are availing through the third party service providers. Okay, so there is a high probability of maximum vulnerability. Okay, there is a high probability of maximum threat, and if percentage of vulnerability and threat would increase, okay, because under the current scenario, each and every business organization, their focus area is with every passing moment, they only want to focus their business. They want to enhance or improve the productivity of the business. So the least concern about the security part. Now, when the least concern about the security part and only concern about just to avail the services through the IS and IT infrastructure. And if there is any vulnerability, any threat exists, then this would be harmful. And now, whenever the business organization perform any change that is expansion into the business process, so parallel, they upgrade the IS and IT infrastructure, parallel, they upgrade the hardware, parallel, they upgrade the software application, parallel, they upgrade the networking, but the least concern about upgradation with respect to the control and policy, which is from any IS auditor point of view. All of you well versed, and always we advise to the client that whenever they perform the changes into the business, so parallel they perform changes periodically into their control and policy, and if they are unable to, then it will create opportunity for any hacker or any fraudster to bypass or to breach. Okay, then parallel, whenever we'll think about the control, then default. Control only going to be mandatory, followed by any business user when they are relevant. Compliance also. So we need required the supported compliance also. So compliance testing would again be the part under the IS auditor. And IS auditor usually we consider playing the role of internal audit, because IS audit is a one type of a internal audit. Okay, so there are some key terms here I defined with respect to the next point, like vulnerability, threat, all this. And please always remember the second last point which I mentioned here, that whenever think about ISN, always evaluate ISN IT implementation with respect to the business objective. No business organization want to dilute their business objective. Okay, they always want to enhance or improve the productivity of the business, but they don't want to dilute. Like State Bank of India, earlier it was a bank before implementation of IS and IT, and today also. Now, earlier banks were offering only one type of the payment mode, and now under the current scenario, along with the offline payment mode, at at the branch level, at the cash counter, along with this, banks are offering IMPS, RTGS, NEFT, UPI, and now maximum customers, both with respect to the personal banking and professional banking, if they are availing maximum transaction, if they are performing via UPI. So I hope all of you would agree with me. Although IMPS, RTGS, NEFT, UPI, all these payment modes are providing the flexibility, as well as all these payment modes are online. But risk involved with respect to IMPS is not equal to the risk involved with respect to RTGS, NEFT, as well as the UPI. So in this manner, you have to perform the risk assessment. And now, whenever we'll think about the risk assessment, then all of you would agree with me from auditor point of view. Auditor always focus first of all on to RI. RI stand for risk identification. And please, why I'm giving the weightage maximum to all this point, module number 1 to module number 6. In each and every module, you will find all this keyword. In each and every module, you will find vulnerability. In each and every module, you will find threat. In each and every module, you will find risk. In each and every module, you will find the control. But now, what about here? After the risk, whenever we'll think about the risk identification, then first of all, ASSET, that is asset. Okay, and all of you would agree with me again from auditor point of view. Although each and every business organization, they are equipped with n number of different type of resources, which even from organization point of view, even we can consider as asset. Okay, but the worth of one asset is not equal to the worth of another asset. Okay, now if worth of one asset is not equal to the worth of another asset, so can we say that risk involved with respect to one asset is not equal to risk involved with respect to another asset? And the type of control which from IS auditor point of view is advisable with respect to one particular asset, the same type of control won't be advisable with respect to each and every asset. Okay, so just keep in mind this. Like whenever we'll think about risk assessment, then default will think about risk identification. Whenever we'll think about risk identification, then default auditor always think about asset. And now with respect to the business organization, which is purely enabled, because under the current scenario, all of you would agree with me, there is hardly any business organization which is purely working under the offline mode or online mode. 90% business organizations are working under the hybrid mode and again under hybrid mode. 70 to 80% organizations are working online. Okay. 20 to 30% are working under offline. So their dependency over IS and IT infrastructure would be maximum. So can we say that along with the business model, along with the business process, along with the internal and external user, okay, because whenever we'll think about the business process, then business process always we created, business process always designed, developed by some user, business process always executed by some user, and during the execution, if business process face any type of technical glitch, so those issues would again be handled by some users whom we consider as subject matter expert or the domain expert. Okay, then business process always provides some user some solution to some users. Okay, and these users are internal users and external users. Okay, then internal users and external user, their privileges are very external user, like for example vendor, warehouse. Okay, with respect to the banking organization, all the payment gateway service provider. Internal user like a branch manager is an internal user. So some are low level internal users, some are middle level internal users, some are top level internal users. And from IS point of view, from information system point of view, low level user is always responsible for data recording. Okay, middle level user is responsible to perform the data analysis. So output of the low level user is input for the middle level user, and output of the middle level user is input for the top level user, and top level user is responsible for the decision making. And since day one, information system come into the limelight, the fundamental need of information system is to become the helping hand of any business organization to resolve the complexity, as well as to improve the decision making skill, to improve the decision making power of the top level management. So, and top level management is purely dependent on to the transaction performed by their internal user. So can we say that internal users, external users, they all are the valuable asset? Okay, but again, there are some vulnerabilities, there are some threat associated. Please kindly pay attention. Even during the examination, please honestly and thoroughly, please focus, remain calm and quiet. Whether the focus area is related to the business process, whether the focus area is related to the user, and now this user is internal user or this user is external user. If this user is internal user, then this user is at which level? This user is low level, so low level user is always responsible for data recording. Okay, and now if some vulnerability already exist or enter into the system while the data recording, and when recorded data would be converted into the database, and over that database organization performs some analysis and generated the report, and based on those report organization performs some effective decision making. So can we say that those decision making won't be effective because organization already generated the vulnerability? Okay, when they captured, okay, unproductive data, when they recorded the unproductive data. So I'm just giving you, this is one scenario, so you have to just go through in this manner, because here we concern about. Then what about here the last point, please kindly. Now one term is, in some of the question you will find the focus area is related to the data. Okay, then with respect to the data, now like a moment before I mentioned that whenever we'll think about the business process, then with respect to the business process would be created by someone. So whomsoever created the business process or whomsoever is responsible to execute the business process, like for example, if we'll consider the case of any banking organization, then, and again, with respect to the banking organization, if I'll consider the case of State Bank of India, and down the line to State Bank of India, if I'll consider the case of any branch, then at the branch level, branch manager is the top level user, and branch manager here. Now we concern about the data with respect to the information system, and organization with every new business cycle concern about that information system should provide more and more and more better outcome. So information system can only able to provide more and more better productivity if the data captured by information, if the data is recorded by, if data gathered by, if data collected by the information system would be the quality oriented. Okay, so just like each and every process having the process owner, similarly here we concern about the data quality, we concern about the data authentication, we concern about the data identification. Okay, please this term you will find into the question. Okay, so with respect to each and every data, there would be somebody as a data owner. Okay, then who is the data owner? Now here, that data owner would be the primary data owner, that data owner would be the secondary data owner, that data owner would be the tertiary data owner, that data owner would be the user, that data owner would be the device, that data owner would be the machine. Because under the current scenario, again all of you would agree with me, like if organizations are working under the hybrid mode, so high volume of the data they are generating through the machines, through the devices, like each and like State Bank of India from last more than a decade introduced the concept of e-corner. Okay, so at the customer level, at the personal banking, okay, now whenever the customer want to deposit, customer want to withdraw, customer want to upgrade the passbook, customer want to deposit the check, which technically known as instrument, all this transaction customer performed by the machine. So machine can be can say that from auditor point of view, machines are the sources of the data. Now, if there is any vulnerability associated with any of the machine, so quality of the data would be affected, and later on, that having a huge impact over the business productivity of the banking organization, because we always concern about BIA. Okay, so please kindly pay attention that from where the organizations are capturing or generating the data, whether the data is coming through the machine, whether the data is coming from the primary source, secondary source, and due to change of this also, quality of the data and vulnerability. So whether it is related to vulnerability, whether it is related to the threat, whether it is related to, and where is the lacking here with respect to the control, please kindly pay attention to this. Yes, I ask kindly move to the next one. Very good. Okay. Now just quickly, like, let me just brief you about module 1, module 2, and module 3. Module 4, module 5, module 6 would be covered by Dr. Omkar Nath in a short while. Now, like I mentioned at the beginning, module 1 having the weightage 18%. Okay. And module 2 having the weightage 16%, and module 3 again having the weightage 18%. So the total weightage of module 1, module 2, and module 3 would be 52%. And then the weightage of module 4, 5, 6 would be 48%, and total is 100%. Okay. And each and every module is interlinked, interrelated. If you go in a play, if you honestly go in a flow which is known as WFM, and like I mentioned at the beginning, please plan your preparation strategically. Like here, module 1, focus area is information system audit process. Okay. And again, you have to think like an IS auditor. Okay. Process means like audit is again a process. Okay. And now auditor is a third party service provider. Auditor is external. Okay. Now, whenever the auditor come into the limelight, okay, that whenever the any business organization hire auditor, either with respect to internal audit, with respect to the stock audit, okay, then some fundamental document would be come into the limelight, would be come into the picture. Then only we able to declare that this particular auditor or this particular audit firm would be finalized or would be authorized to perform the audit. And then the auditor would start the process number one, that is planning for the audit according to the audit need, according to the audit objective. Okay. So the fundamental document like audit charter, fundamental document like service level agreement. Okay. So this two document, what is the importance of this? Okay. And without audit charter, all of you would agree with me. There is no beginning of any audit. Similarly, here with respect to the IAS audit, okay, because IAS audit, like I mentioned, it is a one type of internal audit. And under the internal audit, again, all of you would agree with me. Whenever auditor perform the internal audit, then auditor always report to the board of directors, or auditor always report to the top level management, or auditor always report to the internal audit committee, or auditor always report to the senior level management. Okay. So can we say that board of directors, top level management, senior level management, internal audit committee would be a point of contact for IS auditor also? Okay. And now here the question, like for example, with respect to the audit charter would be prepared by audit charter would be prepared by the IAS auditor, or audit charter would be. I'm just giving you the simple how the questions would be easy if you just go conceptually. Okay, like IAS audit unable to start by any auditor until unless there is no audit charter. Okay, and audit charter document would be prepared by whom? Would be prepared by auditor, or would be prepared by the top level management or the board of directors or internal audit charter. Okay, then there is no beginning of any audit. Similarly, here with respect to the IS audit, then again, each and every business organization, like State Bank of India is not equal to ICICI Bank. ICICI Bank is not equal to any of the cooperative bank. So if size of the banking organization, size of the business organization vary. So can we say that even from IAS audit point of view, from IAS auditor point of view, audit objective would also vary, although we use the term IAS audit. Okay. But due to the change of the nature, or due to the change of the size of the business organization, audit objective would also vary. Okay. And now each and every organization don't have the same level of the financial capacity, even with respect to the audit cost. Okay. So now organizations are spending, okay, because they hired the IS auditor. I hope you people are getting me, because auditor is third party service provider, and each and every organization concerned about quality oriented services. So they concern about which type of the value added services pre or during IS audit or post IS audit auditor would going to provide. So can we say that such type of value added additional services would be framed under the service level agreement? What of services any organization want to avail from IS auditor would be framed under additional document, that is the service level document. So audit charter is a fundamental document, but supporting to audit charter there is one more document, that is service level agreement. Okay. And based on audit charter, then auditor, IS auditor would perform the planning. Okay. Auditor would perform the execution. Auditor would prepare the audit report. And once IS auditor would prepare the audit report, then again review the quality of the audit report based on audit charter. Okay. And like I mentioned a moment before, that whenever the auditor perform IS audit, then auditor always have to perform risk assessment, because under the current scenario, all of you would agree with me. Whatever the audit we are doing, or whatever the audit you people are performing, each and every audit according to RBI, according to IRDA, according to SEBI, according to TRIA, according to CCI, according to SEBI, means according to each and every governing body, each and every audit is going on, risk-based audit. Okay. So risk is the key term. Okay. And now if auditor is concerned about the risk with respect to then auditor, like I mentioned a moment before, I mentioned auditor always concerned about only one solution with respect to the risk, vulnerability, and threat, that is the control. So auditor must to perform the control assessment, must to perform the compliance assessment also, because there is no mean no existence of controls and policies without the compliance. Okay, execution of IS audit, auditor has to test the vulnerability into the business process, has to test vulnerability into ISIT infrastructure, has to test vulnerability into the control, into the policy. Okay, has to test vulnerability threat into the compliance also. So now, a moment before I mentioned, for each and every business organization, data is a lifeline. So auditor, while performing audit, so audit would again be data oriented. And if audit again going to be the data oriented, okay, and during the audit, whenever the auditor going to perform the test, then default approach of the auditor would be statistical based. And whenever we use the term in statistics, then always we use two terms. One is population, another is sample. Okay. And always we test the sample, and after testing the sample, we always prepare hypothesis against the population. But here, the manner in which auditor going to perform data analysis, this analysis is not equal to the analysis performed by any business user, like the manner in which any organization perform the production analysis, sales analysis, okay, customer analysis. Auditor would test the vulnerability. Okay, auditor would test everything is normal going on or there is something abnormal. Means even partially a IS auditor would play the role of forensic auditor also. Okay, even detect, okay, some mischievous or having privilege to raise the red flag also. Okay, so here auditor use a unique technique which is known as CAT or CAAT or CAAT, okay, which is a technique. Okay, that is now each and every audit is going on purely IS and IT based. And whenever we use the term IT means computer oriented. Okay, then what about here? Computer assisted audit technique and computer assisted audit technique and tool. And tool like Excel, tool like MS Access, any SQL, tool like IDEA, ACL, and through CAT tool, auditor extract the data, which is a sample, auditor perform the testing, okay, and then auditor prepare the report. So this is what the focus area of module number 1. Okay, please just go through and please, like I mentioned, all of you having a very good experience, very good exposure, how to perform the different type of audit, whatever the standard you follow with respect to any audit. In that, please kindly enable the IT, then you very easily able to co up and very easily you find yourself comfortable. Okay, this is what the module 1. I ask kindly move to the module 2. I ask kindly move to the next screen. Thank you, my dear. Thank you. Okay. Now, whenever we'll think about now here, module 2. Module 2, here the focus area is like governance and management. And all of you would agree with me that whenever we'll think about auditor, okay, even for time being, forget about IS auditor. If you just think like an auditor, okay, then with respect to any audit, from the auditor point of view, auditor always play the role of a middleware. Auditor always play the role of aggregator. Okay, on right hand side of auditor is governing body. Okay, and on left hand side of auditor is management. Okay, governance responsible for DMCC. D stands for direction, M for monitoring, C for control, C for compliance. Okay. And this direction is known as policy, direction is known as guidelines, direction is known as a standard, direction is known as procedure. Okay, so governing body would be responsible to design or develop the framework with respect to the control. Governing body is responsible to design or develop the framework with respect to the policy. Okay, governing body would be responsible. Governing body would be responsible. Like, I'll just give you a simple, then you people better understood. Like RBI is not involved what State Bank of India is doing. RBI is not responsible for the productivity of State Bank of India or for productivity of ICICI Bank or for productivity of any of the bank. IRDA is not responsible for the productivity of any of the insurance company, whether it is LIC, whether it is Oriental Insurance, okay, whether it is National Insurance, whether it is Bajaj Alliance, okay. Similarly, the SEBI. Okay, so governing body is only concerned about whatever the business process model followed by any business organization. It should be strictly according to the policy. It should be strictly according to the guidelines. It should be strictly according to the standard and procedure defined by the governing body. And okay, and this is the fundamental and the moral duty of any IS auditor, that before going to perform any audit or before going to take any IS audit assignment, auditor must educate himself or herself thoroughly about the policy, about the guidelines, about the standard, about the procedure defined by the governing body. Okay. And based on that, although IS and IT infrastructure would be implemented by any banking organization based on their business need, based on their business requirement. IS-IT infrastructure would be implemented by any manufacturing unit. Okay. IS-IT infrastructure would be implemented by any e-commerce company, whether it is a Paytm, whether it is a Razor Bank, okay, like whether it is a Phone Pay, okay, but it should be strictly according to the governing body. Governing body now here, what about the role of NPCI? What about the framework prepared by RBI with respect to the third party service provider? And all these third party service providers are enabled with each and every, because under the current scenario, each and every business organization, they are following the two type of the model, B2B and B2C. And all of you would agree with me that is the risk associated or involved with respect to B2B and B2C would be totally different. Okay. And now this is going to become the challenging task. Although auditor has to perform audit of a particular business organization, and with respect to the particular business organization, auditor has to coordinate with the board of director, auditor has to coordinate with the top level management, but auditor, if is not thoroughly educated about the governing body direction, monitoring, controlling there, so this would be the vulnerability. So this is the focus area of module number 2. Okay. Then now there are different type of governance. Okay. Now, first of all, what is the role of governance, and then what is the role of management? Okay. Then I am saying, without governance, there is no existence of control, there is no existence of compliance, there is no existence of a standard or procedure with respect to each and every business organization. Okay. Now here, then there are different type of the governance, like corporate governance, enterprise governance, okay, then IT governance. Like under the current scenario, like I mentioned, 90% business organizations are working under the hybrid mode, as well as organizations are working under the heterogeneous environment. There is hardly any business organization which is running only one business vertical. They are running minimum two or maybe n number. Like for example, Tata, earlier known as Salt to Software, but now known as Salt to Airlines. Okay. So now organization is involved into multiple business. So can that with respect to each and every business? Okay. There would be a different process model. There would be a different vulnerability. Okay. So there would be different board of directors. But with respect to the entire organization, there is only one corporate governance. So how corporate governance coordinate with the enterprise governance? Then as per the business need, business requirement of each and every business vertical, each and every business vertical need required independent IT governance. Okay. So this come under GIT, that is governance, that is governance of enterprise information technology, which we also known as ITG. Okay. Then now here under the module 2, the maximum weightage is GRC, that is governance risk compliance. Okay. Then here there are two framework. Please pay attention. That is number one. Without this framework, no IS auditor means no IS auditor can able to evaluate IS or IT infrastructure of any business organization anywhere in the world, which is known as COBIT. Okay, and COBIT is a framework. Okay, and this framework purely designed developed by ISACA. And ISACA, with respect to IS audit, we always consider a parent body. Okay, and parent body means ISACA we consider as a governing body. So whatever the standards defined by ISACA with respect to the IS audit, so each and every IS auditor is bonded to follow. Okay, and all this would be earlier we were using COVID 5, and now we are using the new version of COVID, that is COVID 2019. Okay, now what is new into the COVID 2019? What is the difference between COVID 2019 with respect to the COVID 5? Okay, and now COVID 2019 is entirely focused onto the governance and management. Okay, with respect to the previous version in COVID 5, we were using the term principal and enablers. Now we are using the component. So how enablers are converted into the component, then into the previous there were 5 principles. Now into the new COVID there are 6 principles. Okay, so this is purely standard. You have to honestly review, I'm telling you, and very easily you're going to, because if it is a framework, so you and me, we can't include, we can't modify anything from our end. The manner in which it is defined by the ISACA, in the same manner you have to understood, and in the same manner based on this you have to respond to each and every question. Okay, then there is one more additional framework which we are using. Based on that, we going to evaluate the IT infrastructure of any business organization, which is known as ITIL. And now we are using the latest version, that is ITL version number 4. Okay, ITIL, which is stand for Information Technology Infrastructure Library. Okay, and now here there is one more thing, like I mentioned, IS and IT infrastructure, like whether it is a software application, whether it is a hardware, whether it is a networking, if all this supports, organizations are availing through the third party service provider. Okay, like for database purpose, organization use maintain the database server. Okay, and now this database server would be maintained by the DBA. Okay, and DBA is a process owner defined by the business organization. Okay, and organization define SE also, that is a system administrator who is responsible for hardware and software. Organization define NA network administrator who is responsible for networking. Okay, but what about here? IS and IT. Okay, if on sudden there is any crisis occurred, then impact would, a crisis like a data breach, crisis like a data stolen. Okay, crisis like suddenly database server is not working properly, crisis like there is some loophole into the networking, that networking may be intranetwork, that networking may be internet, that networking may be extranet. Okay, and that networking may be public network, that networking may be a private network. Please, I'm not taking the session, but please, I'm trying to touch the term based on which. And now, whenever the crisis occurred, okay, then organization always concerned about BCM. Okay, and parallel to BCM, organization concerned about the DRP. And future that crisis won't occur, then organization concerned about the BCP. So this is what the focus area of module number 2. Now here there is one more thing. whenever the organization upgrade or implemented new ISA and IT infrastructure, then organization always concerned about to enhance or improve the productivity. And this productivity they evaluate on the basis of the one technique known as the balance scorecard. And balance scorecard contains some parameter, that is the financial growth of the organization, customer satisfaction, employee satisfaction, whether the employees are getting the learning environment or not, what about the attrition rate within the organization. Okay, so this, and all of you would agree with me, in all such areas, whether it is a crisis, whether it is the attrition rate, whether it is a internal control, whether it is a compliance. So there is a direct involvement of the governing body and especially the top level management. So this is what purely the focus area of module number 2. Please kindly just go through any query, anywhere you face any issue, please don't hesitate to ask. Okay, everybody from DAB is ready to help you, and we feel good that you people perform well. Okay, I ask kindly move to the last one, module number 3. Now here, module number 3. Please, I ask. Okay, now here the weightage is 18%, and here the focus area, like I mentioned, whenever we'll think about the IS and IT infrastructure, then we give the maximum weightage to the software application. Okay. And software application, like a moment before I mentioned, like if we'll consider the banking organization, whether it is CBS, whether we'll consider the case of Central Board of Indirect Taxation and Custom, then GST, okay, whether we'll consider the Central Board of Direct Taxation, okay, CBDT. So e-filing and all these applications designed developed by the third party service provider. Okay, and that third party service provider is not a CBDT. That third party service provider is not a chartered accountant who is doing e-filing, who is doing the GST. That third party, like you are well versed, who design or develop the GST, that is Infosys. So Infosys is a subject matter expert with respect to software application. And with respect to the software application, broadly there are two parts. Okay, like one is the front end, another is the back end. Front end through which end user like a banker, end user like a vendor, end user like a customer. Okay, all these are the non-technical user from IT point of view. Okay, and now backbone of each and every software application would be the database, and database would always be designed developed in the form of the tables. Okay, and database understood only one language, that is SQL. So broadly we consider that each and every software application contain two layers. One is the front end, another is the back end. Front end through which end user interact, and end user interact via UI, via GUI, via API, application programming interface, user interface. Okay, and under the current scenario, like 90 to 95% business organizations are enabled with ERP. Okay, and output of one business process is input for another business process. Okay, and ERP is implemented in the form of the module. Okay, and output of one module is input for another module, and module is, but basically module is a database. Okay, so output of one database is input for another database, then output of one API is input for another API. An integration of API is known as EAI. Okay, and the data which is processed in the background is known as EDI. Under the current scenario, one more thing, like maximum organization, if they are working under online mode, and now 90 to 95% business organizations are enabled with ERP. So can we say that some ERPs are under the online mode? And if organizations, if maximum ERPs are running under the online mode, then along with the PI, along with the database server, we need required the web server, we need required the application server to process the application. And now under the current scenario, there is one more thing. If most of the business organizations are working under the heterogeneous and hybrid mode, although I mentioned data is the lifeline, but now I'm saying there is no organization working with the data every second organization is working with the big data. And now if organizations are working with the big data, okay, so now for storage purpose, they, their physical servers are not sufficient. They are looking solution through the cloud is okay. Then again with to the cloud storage, there is involvement of the third party service provider if they are availing the services either through AWS or Microsoft Azure or the Google Cloud or IBM Cloud. They are the because data is a valuable asset, and when this data is converted into the database, that this database going to be more valuable. And now, when you after preparing the database, organization want to derive the valuable information after processing the data. So whenever we perform the analysis, always we use two type of that is current data and historical data. And volume of the current historical data would be much more than the volume of the current data. And to preserve the historical data, organization always use the data warehousing. Okay, so data warehousing, okay, database server, then cloud storage, and now the maximum ERPs are cloud enabled to design such type of the high complex business application or organization because daily they are performing changes in into their business because the current scenario organizations are working under the dynamic mode. Hardly there is any business organization which is working under the static mode. Similarly, there are two type of the data, static data and big data also. Okay. So whenever the organization performing the changes into the business or they create a new business vertical, they need required a new software application that going to be the project. Okay. Then what about the concept of project? What about the concept of program? What about the concept of portfolio? What about the role of project manager? What about the role of project sponsor? Then need required some additional document like the business case. Okay, need required the project charter, business charter, business business charter. Okay, and then again to design or develop effective software application, effective software application. Organization always concern about not simply to design or develop the software application, but they concern about the quality, cost, and time. And when organization concern about the quality and cost and time, then here organization follow the standard technique known as SDLC. Okay, SDLC, which is again defined under the different model. So when to use the standard model, when to use the waterfall model, when to use the prototype model, when to use the RAD model, when to use iterative model, when to use the spiral model, where to use agile model. Then under the current scenario, like we are working with the now we concern about the security. So now the new model adopted that is the DevOps, which is even the cloud based also in security and culture concern about. Okay, so and after designing or developing the software application, now before launching, okay, before launching, it is always advisable to perform effective testing. Then what about the role of how to perform the software testing? Then what about the concept of unit testing, integration testing, system testing, regression testing, penetration testing, user acceptance testing, okay, black box testing, white box testing, okay, alpha testing, beta testing. So this would be the focus area here, module 3. Please just go through, I'm telling you. I'm just, I just intentionally use this term. If honestly you work on to only this term, I'm telling you, nobody means nobody can able to disturb your performance in upcoming examination just after a couple of days. And the same momentum, if you follow with respect to each and every module, I'm 100% sure that many of you not only going to clear, but many of you would come amongst the top rank holder. Okay. Many best wishes to all of you. Over to Gunjanji, to you, please. If any query at this moment. Yes, please. Thank you.
So there are no concrete queries as of now, so I would rather request Dr. Omkar Nath to proceed with the section.
But I hope I fulfill the requirement, Gunjanji.
Yes, sir, you did. Sure did.
Okay. So kind of you kindly allow me. So, Omkarnathji, kindly excuse me if I'll consume some time.
No
I
problem, sir. Nice to have your company for 1 hour, 30 minutes.
think.
Thank you.
Sir,
God bless you.
yes. Thank you. Thank you.
Good evening. Should I start? Guncha, ma'am?
Yes, sir, please do.
Yeah.
समझ
So-
निकल रही? हाँ निकल रही। देखो ये हालत।
My slides are visible? Okay. Thank you. So you have got lot of inputs on module 1, 2, 3, and also regarding the whole ISA 3.0, particularly with respect to AT, because those who are attending this already they have cleared the ET, so that's why they are here. So we are concentrating on AT. One important input I want to give at this in the beginning itself, that if you learn how to read the question, then at least 15-20 more marks is going to be added in your result. Okay. And how to read that one for that purpose for other examinations, certificate examinations and faculty. So I'm telling that one based on my experience. Okay. And based on my experience means my name is Dr. Omkarnath. Those who have attended my session, they know the short form is Don. So you are here with Don for another 1 hour, 30 minutes. Okay. And I'm not chartered accountant. Okay. That is also one of my qualifications. But I am a cybersecurity strategist. So some of the qualifications which is here. Okay. So incidentally, I am a convener of ISA 3.0 and I am author of e-learning module 3 and module 5. Okay. And some of the hands-on or the lab manuals and case studies. Okay. So what I was telling that how to read the question, that is the one of the input that you have to take care. Sorry. You have to read. Our greatest obstacle in clearing such type of certification is our experience. Okay, so while reading question, we add so many of our knowledge. Okay, we bundle with that, and then we are reading that one. Then that's why we are not getting the right result or right out. So for that purpose, my humble suggestion is that you read the question as if it is read by a 5-year-old guy. If you want to experience it, just I will suggest that you experience it. Okay, just watch for 5 minutes or 2 minutes that how a 5-year-old guy is reading. Okay, so any sentence or a couple of sentences, then you can understand. That guy cannot read anything which is not written. Okay. In such type of certificate exams, all the questions are individual questions, independent questions. They are not related to the other questions. So whatever is written in the question, you read that one. Okay. If you are able to read that question carefully, then you will arrive at the, if concept clarity is there, 99% time you will get the right option. Okay. And with this option, if you while reading also what happens, we don't spend much time on the question statement. Okay, but my humble suggestion is that you spend more time on the question statement. Try to understand what this question is. The Kapil sir has told that you are writing exam which is of the information system auditor. Information system auditor means we are the risk practitioner. When we are the risk practitioners, we are talking about risk. IT is a easiest subject in the world. Your accounting is very, very difficult subject. However, I am MBA finance, but still I used to tell that IT is the most easiest subject in the world. Okay. The reason being it has got only 3 risks: confidentiality, integrity, and availability. If you are able to identify these 3 risks in the question, then you are going to get the right option. Okay. It is so simple. Okay. Confidentiality, you are aware that disclosure should not be made to the unintended user, or rather in positive sense, you tell disclosure should be made only to intended user. Integrity talks about the two important elements, that is correctness and completeness. Okay. And what is there? It must be correct and complete. If either of this is present, then integrity is not there. Okay. And integrity never lies in between 0 to 100. Either integrity is there or integrity is not there. The third risk is the availability. Availability is that system, information, or data, or the service delivery should be made available to the intended user when and wherever promised. Online, through internet, across the globe, 24/7. So that you have to ensure. Either of this is compromised, it is known as a compromise system. Okay. So generally, the questions, they are based on the risk. When we are talking about risk, already we have seen that risk has got 4 treatment. As auditor, what we are doing? We are testing the controls. No. From where we are getting the controls? Controls are the outcome of the risk treatment. When risk is treated, we are getting the control. This is there in model 5. Okay. So what are the risk treatment options we have got? We have got 4 risk treatment options. Okay. Avoid, transfer, mitigate, and accept. I used to call it Atma. Okay. ATMA. And really it is a soul of our whole this certification process or certificate, ISA 3.0 or IT. So where we are getting the controls? In when we are treating the risk, then in avoidance, control is not there. In transfer, control is not there. In acceptance, control is not there. Control is there only in mitigation. Okay. And this we are getting from the risk register. So wherever mitigation is there, control is there. When control is there, then we are testing the control. What we are doing? We are testing predominantly, we are testing the effectiveness of the control and efficiency of the control. And there are 3 levels of testing it. Okay. These 3 levels of testings are, first we are going to see the documentation. Is there any policy for that? If policy is not there, you cannot ask for the control. If policy is not there, then you see that, say, first time if organization is exposed to audit, then maybe policy is not there. As auditor, you are going to point out that policy is not there. Then what you are going to do? We have to see from where we can get the document. Document must be approved. Approved means by the appropriate authority, board or otherwise. Laws and regulations we are going to see. If laws and regulations is also not applicable to that organizations, then we are going to see the good practices. Good practices means something like that ISO 27001. Okay. So first thing is the control testing is happening at the documentation level. Second, it is happening at the implementation level. Means whatever the policy is telling, the same way it is implemented or not. Okay. And third thing is the review and monitoring is happening. So with related to these 3, you will get lot of scenarios. On the basis of that, the question is going to be developed. So on policy, you will get the question. On standard, you will get the question. On procedures, you will get the question. For policy implementation, we are getting the standards. The standards, they are helping consistent implementation across the organization. Every policy implementation is going to have with the procedures. So policy is going to be linked with the procedures. There are certain baselines or guidelines for the implementation purpose, which is going to be taken care while implementing the policy. So these are the documents we are getting, laws and regulations, the good practices, standards we are getting if organization is exposed to that. Okay, something like that. Some of the organization is having ISO 27001, or some of the organization is doing the card business and having that PCI DSS compliance requirements are there. Okay. So we are going to talk about the risk, which is CIA, throughout all these 3 modules, which is assigned to me. And we'll see if time permits, we'll see that some questions we are going to discuss. But it is my humble request to all of you, put your questions, whatever queries is there, even related to the previous sessions also, if queries there, put it there. to Guncha ma'am, and I will try my level best to answer your queries at the end of the session. But in between that also, you go on sending. And ma'am, I will request you, whenever it comes, you can put it in the chat. I will see that along with my deliberation, it is going to be addressed.
So,
Okay. So first, we are talking about the information system organization. So when we are talking about the information system, it can be based on the decision making. Decision making means the information system going to be used by the strategic management. So it is based on the decision making, or some for the operations. So based on that, the information system is going to be decided depending upon the processing requirement. Somewhere, some tactical information is required, or some decision-making process is different, like a firefighting. Executive information system is there. Some the systems which are based on the hierarchy used by the top management, middle management, administrative management, or operations management. So depending upon that, the information system is going to be designed. Okay, these are the roles and responsibility. Most of the roles and responsibility, you are aware about that. User data is there. User data is that the data we used to call the data user. Data user means those who are using the data, those who are manipulating the data through the applications. So manipulation of data always happens with the help of the applications. If without application it is happening, it must be checked. Say database administrator have got all right to manipulate the data even without application. But there must be control which is going to check if database administrator is going to do that. So similarly, the data owner is there. Who is the data owner? Generally in the organization from outside, if you are going to see, the CEO of the company is, or the chairman or the president is going to be the owner of the data, but it is going to be delegated. So delegation is going to be done through the DBA, database administrator, which is known as a data custodian. Okay. So once it is delegated, means given to the database administrator, after that, even the data owner wants to use it, there is need to have the permission of the database administrator. Otherwise, what will happen? Without permission, if data owner is going to use, then conflict of interest will be there. So once it is delegated, then you are also losing the right to that. You till the time you are not going to withdraw that delegation. Okay, you can withdraw and then you can become again the owner. Otherwise, for the purpose of accountability, there is need to use the data with the permission of the data custodian. Okay. System owners are there. Who is going to be the system owner? If it is used by the IT system, then IT is going to be the owner of the system. If it is used by the business, then business is going to be whoever is the only using the system is going to be the owner of the system. Similarly, we have got some IT roles: system administrator, database administrator, and network administrator. System administrator is going to administer the system. Administrative activities are happening. That's why they are the administrator. We, as a data user, we are not using the administrative rights. We are using the application for manipulating the data. Any administrative activity which needs to be done is going to be done by the IT department, and that is the system administrator is there. That's why we used to call, whenever access rights comes, we used to call it need to know, need to do, and list privileges. Privileges means some right has been given to you. On the basis of that, you can act on the system. So the system administrator can act on the system. Database administrator can act on the data. Sorry. Network administrator is going to act on the network. Okay. Now, similarly, how the application is going to be developed depending upon the process. So whoever is owning the process is going to be the process owner. Say operations department is going to be the owner of the operations process. Marketing department is going to be the owner of the marketing process. And the user manager, generally we also alternatively used to call it the business manager or the business administrator, who does certain configurations into the system for providing access rights on the data, because system rights are given by the IT department and data rights are given by the business administrator. Okay. A steering committee is there, which is going to see the implementation, see that the milestones are going to be achieved. In general, the steering committee is headed by a person who is having representation into the board of the company. Okay. Security manager, it's a lower level rights, but in general does the job on behalf of the CISO, who is the Chief Information Security Officer. In the organization, you will find that there are three macro level functions. If you are going to see the organization, so you'll find these functions are, first function is the business function. Okay. The second function is the support function. IT is part of the support function. And third is the oversight function. So information security is part of the oversight function. Similarly, the IS audit is also going to be part of the oversight function. So if you are in the oversight or if you are in the support, you cannot manipulate the data. There will be conflict of interest. Okay. So that's why there is need to see the segregation of duties, and according to roles and responsibility, the access is going to be given. So IT department, how restriction is going to be given to this? Even though system administrator can administer the system but cannot access the application. If system administrator has to access the application, they have to access the application from some of the system which is from the business domain, because business is authorized to access the application. Okay, so that way segregation is going to be done. Similarly, those who are from the oversight function, CISO or the audit or the vigilance, law, they cannot manipulate the data because they are in the oversight function. So they can only see it. Okay, read-only rights are there because they are monitoring. A lot of other inputs are required to be given to them to understand the risk associated with that. Human resource management, certain background checks are required to be done prior to employment, during the employment, and at the time of termination or change of employment. One concept is there which is known as of the exit interview. Okay. So in this exit interview, what happens? All the rights which is given to the user is going to be taken back along with the feedback. Feedback is also going to be taken. So, and after that, after completion of the interview, the employee is going to be escorted up to the exit. No, because employee doesn't have any right. All rights, cards and access rights all have been withdrawn. So escorted to the exit point, and after exit point, when it goes out, that employee becomes the outsider. So after that, if he wants to come into the organization, all the formalities which is required to be fulfilled for the outsider, that is required to be fulfilled. So there is need for termination or change of the employment. During the employment also, depending upon the criticality, feedback is going to be, the background check is going to be done. Prior to employment, it's a very common background check is to be done. Now coming to the layers of the software between user and the hardware. When we are accessing the system, we are here, user. No. So first we are logging to the system. Where we are logging? We are logging to the operating system. Now our operating system is on the hardware. Okay. Now this on operating system, our application is there. So applications are dependent upon the operating system. Applications, we may have the applications which may work on the Windows, or we may have the applications which may work on the Unix or Linux, something like that. But there is need to have a compatibility of application in between the operating system, the system software and the application software. In the system software, here I was referring to operating system only. Apart from that, middleware is there. Okay. API is there, some interfaces, device drivers are there. A lot of examples are there of the system software. These systems are directly having interface to the hardware. Hardware means they are able to manipulate the physical components of the system. Okay, I understand that what could go wrong or the consequences if we go for operating effectiveness testing without testing the design of a control and result is positive. say two concepts are there, which comes in the IS audit module 1. That is the design effectiveness and operation effectiveness. So design effectiveness comes from the business or the system manuals. Okay, whatever the business process manuals are there, system manuals are there. From there, it comes the design. But when it comes to the operations, so these are the two distinct things. One is the design effectiveness. You may have the design effectiveness, but may not have the operational effectiveness. Because when it comes to the operations, so there will be conflict of interest. But if it is properly designed, and operationally and designed, then you will get a right result. Otherwise, take the example of the maker and checker. If checker is on leave, we need to delegate that right to maker. And maker's right, in turn, we need to give it to some junior, that the computer operator. So this is designed into the system. So you may have the design effectiveness that this way the delegation is going to be done. But if you do not have the operational effectiveness, means if you are delegating the right without withdrawing the rights of the maker and giving the rights of the checker, system should stop it. Till the time the rights of the maker is not withdrawn, it should not allow to give the rights of the checker. That is one dimension. Another dimension, whatever checker's right you are giving, whomsoever checker's right you are giving, you have to withdraw also the checker's right from that. Okay. So operationally, it should be effective. And because in manual environment, it's very easy to do that one on paper. But in computerized environment, in real life scenario, you see, there are thousands of users, tens of thousands of users in mid-sized enterprises you will find. If you are not going to see the operational effectiveness, then there will be a conflict of interest. Okay. Hope I have answered your query. So I was talking about this. So, and application software is accessed by the user. This is a testing. There are manual testing, there are automation testing, hybrid testing is also there. In today's scenario, hybrid testing is the most common thing which is happening. Manual testing means you are not using any testing tools like GAS or SAS or utility softwares. Directly you are doing the manual testing, giving input, going to see the results. Automated testing through tools it is happening. Even the tools are generating the test packs also. They are going to push the text packs, whatever result is going to come. On the basis of that, new test packs are going to be generated. The regression testing is one of the example of that, where test packs are going to be generated and going to be done. Particularly for pre-dispatch and inspection testing, benchmarking testing, that is also done by the automation testing. Okay. The software testing approaches, white box, black box, and gray box testing is there. When we are talking about the name itself indicates that what type of testing is going to be done. White means if you know the color science, you know why we are going to see the white color. Because there is nothing like a white color. But all these 7 colors are going to be reflected. Then it gives the white color. And when all these 7 colors are going to be absorbed, then it is good. Means nothing is reflected, then it gives the black. Gray is mix of that. Okay, something is reflected, something is absorbed. So white box testing means it is transparent to you. So you even know the internal constitution of the how the internal construction has happened, internal logic has been given in the system, that all you are aware about that. Black box testing, you are not aware about that. Only through input, whatever there on the screen, through process, you are going to know about that. Gray is combination of that. Up to some level, you are going to have a knowledge about the construct of the system, and some extent through input on the screen, you are going to do that. Sorry. Now, relational database management system, which is when we are talking about relational, then we are talking about two important. What is that database management system? It is in the tables. Okay, so series of tables are there, but in what is relational, these tables are having relation to each other. Okay, how relationship has been established? Relationship has been established with the help of the primary key and secondary key or foreign key. So primary key means in each table, there is a column where all values are unique. In that column, the all values are unique and not null. Not null means have some value. Null means no value. Okay, 0 is having a value. Blank space is having a value. Okay, value means we are talking about the ASCII value. Okay, you may have X value also, but it is having with respect to that. Then this relational database management system, how this development is going to take care or handle particularly the database is through the SQL. Okay. So there are three components of SQL. One is the DDL, data definition language, where how the table is going to be created, that is going to be taken care. Then there is a data manipulation language, where data and other things are happening in the tables. And the data control language, when you are writing into the database, creating, modifying that one, all that is coming into the DC, data control language. Incident response process, we have to prepare for that. When we are talking about incident, what is incident? Any event having potential to impact is known as an incident. Okay. So we have to prepare for the incident. You should have the policy or the procedures through which you can understand whether it is incident or not. After that incident, when you are going to identify it, sorry, I've got sore throat today. So after identification, you have to report it. So you should have the policy or procedure, incident response plan, that how reporting is going to be done. And after reporting, if they are going to identify it on the set parameters that it is incident, then they will try to contain it. Containment means we are going to reduce the impact. We are trying to reduce the impact. We are containing it. Okay. And after containment means a spread another impact, we are going to reduce it. And after containment, we are trying to eradicate it. After removal, the recovery of the system will take place because we have contained it. It is containment means we have, the example is disconnected from the network, isolated it. Okay, we are trying to isolate it. Okay. And then recovery is going to take place, and then the follow-up. Then your root cause analysis, RCA, is going to take place. Through that, you are going to understand what was the root cause, why it has happened. If that is going to address, then lesson learned. So that reoccurrence, if root cause analysis is going to take place, if the implementation is going to take place, the control implementation for the root cause is going to take place, or that is going to be addressed, then you will find that reoccurrence of incident is not going to take place. So in technical terms, we used to call it problem management. Means incident management is reactive. Problem management is going to be stop the reoccurrence of the incident, because we have addressed the root cause for that. So first the try is going to happen at the identification level, and after that finally the root cause analysis has happened, lesson learned, and then documentation is going to take place. This is the incident response process. Now coming to the module 5, risk response. I have told you that we have got 4 risk response options: avoid, transfer, mitigate, and accept. And I have also told that the control is there in the mitigation only. And one more important thing that remember, the ownership of risk is not going to be transferred. Ownership of risk is always going to remain with the enterprise. Okay. So even in case of transfer, risk is not transferred. What is transferred in case of transfer? Risk response option, some portion of impact. So you can take the example of the life insurance or mediclaim or vehicle insurance. So the risk is not transferred. Ownership of risk is also not transferred. What is transferred? Whatever the impact will be there, some portion of that impact. That's why we are getting that up to 5 lakhs, that insurance is there. So that some portion, some part of the impact is transferred there. Ownership always remains with the enterprise or with the organization. Who is going to be the risk owner? Whomsoever is owning the business process on which risk is there. If risk is on the IT process, then IT is going to be the risk owner. If risk is on the business process, then business is going to be the owner of that risk. And risk owner is going to be the, in turn, the controller. Okay. Needs to monitor the control, have got right to take a call on the control. Okay. What is information security objective? I told you it is a CIA. Okay. A participant query is there. A central antivirus system determines each personal computer has the latest signature files and installs the latest signature files before allowing to connect to the network. This is an example of detective control, corrective control, compensating control, directive control. Which is the correct answer? Okay, I will give you definition of tree. Then you yourself can tell that what could be the answer. Okay, so what is preventive control? Preventive control is going to create a resistance up to a desired level. Okay, precisely to understand that preventive control is going to create a resistance up to a desired level. Say lock on the door, it is creating a resistance. But that doesn't mean you cannot break open the lock or the door. You can break, but it is creating certain level of resistance. Similarly, the boundary wall. So 8 feet boundary wall, 10 feet boundary wall, or 12 feet boundary wall, that is creating a resistance. Okay, so preventive control is that. Detective control is whenever impact is there, it is going to detect it. Okay, it is not stopping that. Okay, and corrective control is going to reduce the impact. Means whenever impact is there, then corrective control is going to be in action. Okay, without impact, corrective control is not going to be activated. Compensating control, directive control, and deterrent, both are part of the preventive control. Okay, compensating control are the controls. These are going to be put in place wherever you are aware that primary control is compromised. Say something like that, you are having a maker and checker and only 2 people are there. You are finding that one is on leave. So for running the business process, you have to give maker and checker both right to same person. But you have to put a compensating control. What compensating control? You are going to put it, give this assignment to some of the other branch person or other office person that going to review the logs. Whatever the activities has been done by the same person with the maker and checker, right? That you are going to do. Compensating control, you are going to put on record, you are going to transfer the checker and maker both right to a single person. So it is going to compensate that one, but it is not replacing the primary control. Maker checker should be, but if it is not in place, then you have to compensate it, but it is not going to be routine in nature. Now we can think of the answer. Just think and answer it, then I will tell you what is the correct answer. With my deliberation, if you are able to do that. Okay. Okay, I'm moving ahead. So we are talking about the information security objective. So we are having CIA. Okay. So I told you only the information security objective is to ensure that confidentiality, integrity, and availability is in place. I have explained already what is confidentiality, integrity, and availability. So what is risk? What is risk? risk is threat coupled with vulnerabilities. So some threat is there which is going to exploit the vulnerability. Okay, so there is need of a threat modeling. In today's scenario, most of the risk assessment, I will request the participant who has raised the query, answer the query, answer the control. Okay, then I can tell you what is the right answer. Meanwhile, I am doing that. Moving ahead, I remember that one. Threat modeling tool is used for model the threats because we are having a information system which having a large installations. Humanly, it is not possible to do that all risk assessment or the model the threats. So different threat modeling tools are there. OWASP is the most common threat modeling tool. It is an open web application security project. It is of the application threat modeling, particularly the web applications threat modeling. OWASP is used for that. You can go to the OWASP site and there you can find there is a tool also. OWASP tool is there, which is going to do the, if you run on the web application, it will tell that what are these threats are there. So top 10 threats the OWASP used to release that one. Okay. In 2021, they have also started with the APIs, top 10 application programming interface middleware that threats. Okay. DREAD is another model is there. It is also the risk assessment model tool, threat modeling tool is there. STRIDE is also there. STRIDE is given by this Microsoft. Okay. But most that elaborated tool which is available is known as a MITRE, which is not part of your syllabus. Just I'm telling you for the reference purpose. Okay. The way we have told the information security objective is CIA. So here the threats are, risk is in the DREAD 5. Here we are having the 6. And there is a STRIDE LM is also the new version is there, which is known as a lateral movement. Okay. So here the threat we are modeling on the basis of damage, reproducibility, exploitability, and how much work is in to launch the attack, affected users, how many people will be impacted, and how easily it is to discover that threat. So on the basis of that, they are going to map on these things. Here in STRIDE, we have got the spoofing. Spoofing is the impersonation, tampering, the unauthorized manipulation, repudiation, denial, information disclosure, confidentiality is going to be compromised, and denial of services is there. And the information system controls, I told you from where we are getting the controls. We are getting the controls when we are going to give the risk treatment. So there we are getting in mitigation, we are getting the control. What is the objective of the control? If you are able to understand the objective of the control, easily we can tell that which control is going to be implemented. The way I have explained in the beginning, that if you are able to understand that what is the question step, what risk is there, easily you can answer the question. So for example purpose, what is the objective of the audit trail? What logging, recording of logs and this we are doing. What is the objective of that? We need to, on the basis of that, we can fix the accountability. We'll come to know that who has done that. Okay. And if uniqueness in user is there, we can do that one. So types of controls, we are talking about preventive, detective, and corrective. I have already explained that one, preventive, detective, and corrective. Once again, I am repeating that one. Prevention is happening, means it is creating a certain level of resistance. Detection is happening. It is that control which is going to detect that one. Okay. Answer is not corrective. Corrective is happening when the impact is there. In your question, you see this question is there in your book. Okay. And why you are, what has happened? You have detected that this system doesn't have the latest patch. Okay. So there is no impact on that. If there is a virus attack, and after that you are going to isolate the system, then that will be the corrective control. So simply you have detected that it is not having the latest signature patch. Okay, no impact is there. That's why I am telling you, try to understand what these controls are. Prevention is going to create a resistance up to the certain level. Okay, that or desired level. What is that desired level? Whatever is there in the policy. Detecting is talking about that. It is going to detect only. It will not do anything. Corrective is, it is going to act only after impact. Say backup. Backup is also example of the corrective control. How it is a corrective control? Backup is going to work when there is an impact on the production data or the data which is there in the processing is lost. Then you are going to recover from the backup. So backup is going to be used when impact is there on the data. If impact is not there, backup is not used. Say business continuity site or disaster recovery site. When you are going to use that one? When there is an impact on the production site. So till the time impact is not there, corrective control is not going to be activated. So here impact has not happened. Okay. I hope you are able to understand. Control rating. In today's scenario with the current scenario with the ISO 31000 2018, we are having a 5 level of control. Earlier we are having the 3 levels of the control: high, medium and low. But now we are having very high, high, moderate, low and negligible. What could be the very high? Very high means which is going to question the existence of the organization itself. That will be the very high. Severe impact is there. The impact is severe, but organization may condemn. Okay. Moderate, less than that. Sensitive systems are there having impact. You have to pay huge penalty on that. Low, impact is there, but you can accept it. Okay, that is in the acceptable level. Within that, risk appetite. Negligible, you are going to ignore it. But all should be recorded. It should be explicit because it is the risk owner who is going to accept these control ratings or going to give the acceptance to the treatment of the identified risk. In information security organizations, there is need for segregation of duties. All people easily understand that one. Wherever you have worked as a consultant, we cannot work as an auditor, or those who are working in the SDLC phases, system development phases, as an auditor, they cannot audit those systems when it comes to the production. Okay. So the maker checker concept is there, which is known as 2% principle or 4 eyes principle is also there. There is a need for rotation of duties. The rotation of duties, two dimensional is there. One is that you are going to train the people with the rotation. Okay. The second one is also going to address if any issues like collusion is there. So through rotation or mandatory leave, these are going to be addressed. That is happening. Key man policy, those who are very critical to the organization, like the CEO and the second man. So we'll find in the real life scenario, in the bigger organization, you'll find that both the chairman and vice chairman, they don't travel with the same flight, okay, or in the same car, or in general, they change the route also, okay, or they try their level best to have a minimum presence together so that impact is going to be reduced. Okay, it should not happen that both the persons, the head and the associate head is going to be have impact with certain incident or certain disastrous act. So for that purpose, there is a key man policy in the organizations. Now we have got the physical and environmental controls. So when we are talking about the physical controls, any control which is going to create a resistance, physical resistance, is the physical control. Okay, so you may get the physical control for the primary computer facility, boundary wall. Okay, you'll get the entry gate, single gate, reception. You'll get where the access card and other things are going to be used. Okay, cooling system facilities. These are very critical for the system. If appropriate level of temperature is not maintained, then there is huge heat generation is happening when the systems are running. So if this cooling system is not functioning properly, then there will be a steep rise in the temperature, and that may melt the electromagnetic components also. Microcomputers, these are the end computing devices, needs to be addressed, because the more and more addresses we are doing that at the data center level, at the server level, but there could be entry of malicious users, or the activities may take place from the endpoints. Telecommunication equipments and the lines must be in the conduit. Alternative arrangement should be there, standby arrangement should be there. The way we used to carry two mobiles of two different service providers SIM. So physical security threats and exposure, sources of the physical security threats, wherever the resistance is there, there could be a unintentional access or accidental access, or deliberately somebody can do that one. Okay. Environmental controls, it is related to the environment. Okay, that may affect the hardware and the media. The way we are maintaining the certain level of temperature or the humidity in the data center environment, the same way it is also required to be maintained at the backup site, alternate site, or where this media storage has taken place. The information system supporting infrastructure or facilities, you will get the raised flooring, you will get the false ceiling. So all this cabling and other things are in the raised flooring, below the floor it is there. You will find that there is a if proper partitioning has not been done, then somebody can move the that tiles, and they can go from one room to another room. That can happen. There is need for a proper documentation for that. These documentations are also going to help us to understand the design of the infrastructure in case of any emergency, say fire and other activities has taken place that happens. Supplies, we need to address the supplies also, including the water or such type of things, which is for the people which are there, and also to the people, because it is a 24/7 installations, and all whatever the activities are happening, it is happening. The people are there in the shift. There is no interruption or stoppage of services on such critical installations, particularly the data center or the alternate site. The emergency plans, something like the evacuation plans. Okay, in case of fire, how evacuation will take place. In case of flood, how you are going to act. In case of pandemic, we have seen the past, we have seen the recent past, we have seen that how the COVID has impacted us. Yeah. So there, what has happened that time, emergency plan, that whenever even in the beginning single case was there, even the data center or building was locked. So people were operating the data center from the remote. Okay. So that type of scenario has come up, or you have to think of the alternate site. So emergency plans are there. Maintenance plans, generally MTBF and MTTR, it is mean time between failures and mean time to recover. So which should be higher. So before the next failure is going to come, recovery should take place. Okay. So the mean time between failures should be higher than the mean time to recover. Otherwise, what will happen? If it is not higher than what will happen before recovery, the failure will again take place, and that will become disastrous to the organization. Ventilation and air conditioning also, when we are talking about air conditioning, I have told that cooling system, the appropriate level of temperature and humidity should be maintained. The ventilation should be positive. It should not happen that outside air is coming inside air should go outside. Okay. So, so that if any poisonous gas release is there, something like that, Bhopal gas testing, or here in 2011, we are having such type of incident in Sanders Road also, or some other locations also. The poisonous gas release was there. After the COVID situation, there was Vizag, there was the poisonous gas release. So we have seen so many such type of incidents which have happened. Power supplies, UPS and generator, not only the UPS, online UPSs are there. The DG sets are also there. Along with the DG set, we are also storing the amount of diesel. Okay. And UPS also, a standby UPS is also there. Not only that, along with that, we are having the surge protectors. or we are going to condition the lines. Means uniform the voltage, we are getting that. And mains power supply, the standby power supply and main power supply, both should not be from the same company. If it is not possible, then it should be from two substations. So exactly what we are doing, we are addressing the single point of failure. Means it should not happen that the same incident is going to impact the both, and then we are going to have a failure that will become a disaster to the organizations, even though we are having the alternate. So while auditing such systems, power is a oxygen for the information system. If it is not going to be supplied, it will not function. So that's where we are having UPS. With UPS, we are having a certain number of hours of backup through battery. Then we are having for support the generator. For generator also, alternate generator will be also there. Okay. Identity management and access control. The thumb rule is need to know, need to do, and list privileges. Okay. So when we are talking about privileges, I have told you what is privilege. Some rights have been given to you to act on the system. And need to know, need to do is for the data purpose. So generally that refers to the business, but that can be also for the processes which is there in the IT, which is not actually they are using the business data, but for them also it will be applicable. Single sign-on, it is the once you are going to, these are the examples of the single sign-on. Active Directory, Kerberos is there, and the Kerberos is used by the Windows operating system. Okay. Kerberos is a Greek word, and the literal meaning of Kerberos is a three-headed dog. A three-headed dog is there. So what is that three-headed? If you'll see in the Google that on the old, if you see the Greece old palace, then you will see the in front of the palace there is a three-headed dog. That is the name is the Kerberos. Okay, so the back side of the dog is palace, and front side three directions is protecting that. Okay, so on the basis of that, this single sign-on has been developed. Single sign-on is good where large number of employees are there, but it is also the single point of view. So once you are authenticated, what your access rights are there, that is going to be given with the single sign-on. You need not require to time and again log into the different applications or different systems. Okay. Access controls in the operating system or even in the applications also we can see then, but generally this is there in the operating system. Through operating system it is implemented. We are having MAC, mandatory access control. It is generally derived by the policy. It is mandated. Discretionary access control is also by the policy, but there is a provision of delegation. In mandatory access control, whatever control is given to you, you cannot delegate it. But in discretionary access control, if you are owner of that control, you can delegate it. And further delegation is also permitted if you have permitted that. Role-based access control, depending upon the roles and responsibility, the access control is given. There is need to generate the audit trail so that we can understand if any one-to-one incident has taken place, so that we can review that one and you can understand that how this incident has happened. You can learn the lesson, you can arrive at the root cause, and we can address that. To eliminate the single point of failure, there is a concept of segmenting or zoning in the network. So in network, you have seen in the e-learning that we are having LAN, we are having WAN, okay, we are having VLAN. Those concepts are there, or you have heard about the DMG, demilitarized zone. So through that, depending upon the criticality, zoning is going to be done. Okay, and there is a standby arrangement for the network devices, that switch, router. Earlier, we were using the other devices which are not in use in today's scenario. So whatever standby arrangement is there, it should be redundant. It should not happen that somehow management is going to be done. Otherwise, it will become the single point of failure, and that is going to the impact the whole network, and in turn, that is going to impact the services which is being delivered to the users. Coming to the concept of cryptography. Cryptography is the definition of cryptography is the art of hiding the information, encrypting that one, hiding the information. So two types of cryptography is there. One is a secret key cryptography, and which is known as a symmetric cryptography. So what is this secret key cryptography is? It is something like a lock. The same key is going to be used for locking and unlocking. So here in the secret key or symmetric key cryptography, the same key is going to be used for encrypting and decrypting. Okay, so that is known as a symmetric. In asymmetric, two different keys are going to be used for encryption and decryption. Okay, if you are going to use some key for encryption, the other key is going to decrypt it. Okay. When we are talking about cryptography, two important elements are there of the cryptography. One is the algorithm and another is the key. So on the basis of the algorithm, it is going to be decided whether it is a symmetric or asymmetric. Okay, and then the key is going to be generated. If it is asymmetric, two keys will be generated, public key, private key, that is going to be generated. In a digital certificate, what you are using is asymmetric, where public key and private key is there, in which the public key is going to be open to all. Anyone can have your public key, and private key is going to be totally confidential to subscriber of that certificate. That is that. The hashing or hash function is the third element of the cryptography, which is one-way function. One-way function means you can only encrypt, but you cannot decrypt it. Okay, that's why it is known as a one-way function. So generally, the hashing function is used for the testing the integrity. So our password in the application or in the operating system is stored in the form of hash value or message digest. Both are synonymous to each other. Vulnerability assessment and penetration testing is there. External testing is there. From outside the network, somebody is going to test that one through internet. Internal testing within the network, it is happening. Okay, and then targeted testing is there. You are going to tell that testing should be done for the certain systems. Okay, penetration testing, specifically one can go for the certain applications or denial of service. Var dialing. Var dialing means you are dialing a group of numbers or large numbers to understand that which number belongs to which organization or to a specific organization. Wireless network, Wi-Fi network penetration testing, or social engineering. Social engineering, three known social engineering or most common social engineering is there: phishing, wishing, and SMSing. Okay. Risk associated to the penetration testing, through that vulnerability will be known. Whoever the tester, if the tester from outside will come to know about the vulnerability, if that vulnerability is not addressed, can be exploitable or may disclose. Okay, that's why with the penetration testing, the agreement is lifetime non-disclosure. Monitoring of control it happens through the SIEM, the security incident and event management or security information and event management tools are there. They aggregate the logs through on the basis of the parameter they generate the alert. That happens in the SOC environment, Security Operations Center. In today's scenario, we are having the CSOC, Cyber Security Operations Centers, where they are going to take care of the cyber risks. Now coming to the module 6, which is of the emerging technology. The first one is the artificial intelligence. So how artificial intelligence is different from the traditional system? Okay. So what is our traditional system? We know GIGO, no? The garbage in, garbage out. So here we are having a data which is going to work as an input, and we are having a program with the system which is going to manipulate the data, and we are getting the output. If something wrong with the input or the data, we are going to get the wrong output, or something wrong with the program, we are going to get a different output or garbage output will be there. But here in this system, the the traditional system, the program is going to be static in nature. Once you are going to put, unless and until you go to the change management process, it is not going to change. Here in artificial intelligence system, even the output becomes data. Or based on the output, the modification in the program is going to take place. Say, for example, the self-driving car. So what happens in case of the self-driving car? So it is going to adjust, no? If suddenly the ahead vehicle is going to apply the brake. So it is going to learn from that, no? And if more space is there, then going to speed up. So it is going to change the logic. Okay, that is depending upon the what output it has got from the previous processing. On the basis of that, the way you see the GPS, no, to GPS tracking. So it changes that timing, that how much time it will take to reach that location. How it is going to do that one, depending upon the availability of the information, it is going to change the logic. Sorry. The second one is the blockchain. What is that blockchain? So we are having a blocks and that is chain. So what is block? So for every transaction or for every event, you are going to create a block. So all information related to that event is going to be stored in a block. How it is going to be chained? It is going to be chained with the help of the hash value. Okay. In previous slides, we have discussed about the hash value. So it is going to create a hash value. Hash value is having a three characteristic. One characteristic already I have told you, it is a one-way function. The second characteristic is that it is going to create a hash value of fixed length. Depending upon the algorithm, if algorithm is MD5, it is going to create a hash value of 160 bits. No, whatever your document is there, maybe the 10,000 pages, 20,000 pages, or 1 lakh pages, it will create a hash value of that 160 bits. Okay. Now, this is the second characteristic. And third characteristic, it is always unique to the input or the text. So if you are going to change some value here, and we are going to create the hash value, it will be a different hash value. But will bring back the previous value, again it will bring back the previous hash value. So it is always unique to the text. This is the third characteristic. Three characteristics I told you. One-way function. It is of fixed length, and third one is unique to the text or the input. So the hash value of the previous block is going to be taken as an input in the succeeding block. And then the hash value is going to be generated. That happens with the next blocks. So this way we are chaining. The chaining means through this hash, the chaining is going to be done. So if you are going to make changes, if you make changes somehow here, it will not match with the hash value which has come here. The hash value of this block 2 is also going to change. Okay. And how the first, hash is going to be taken, because the previous block is not there. So some random number is going to be generated, and that is going to be used as a previous hash. Okay. This is not fixed, this one. Just for example, it is given. Okay. So blockchain is a public blockchain. We are talking here in our curriculum. It is a public blockchain. So blockchain is a public blockchain, is a distributed ledger. All the blockchain participants or the nodes, they are having copy of the ledger. So in real life scenario, what happens? So wherever our information system processing is there, ledger is only one. Here, copy of the ledger is available to everyone. Okay. Very big query is there. Which of the following is one of the key benefit of easy IT? Identification of relevant laws, regulations, and policies requiring compliance, improve transparency, understanding of IT contribution, better utilization of human resources by using automation, increased revenue higher by ROI. You are having answer. Still you are asking. No. Second question is major concern associated with using sanitized old production data for testing new application in that user may not provide sign of production data may be leaked. Okay. Integration testing cannot be tested. Okay. All cannot be tested. Okay. Third one is which of the following is best control for building requisite skill and competence within the organization. Hiring only high qualified, outsourcing the critical operation, conducting a skill enhancement training, and defining a skill requirement in the job. Okay. Where is the problem in the third question and second question? When you are talking about governance, governance is talking about three components. Whenever it comes to the governance, it is talking about three components. EDM, evaluate, direct, and monitor. Okay. So it's not only for the compliance. When you are talking about identification of relevant laws, regulations, and policies requiring for compliance, that is one of the requirements. But the primary requirement of governance is taking care of the stakeholder needs. Okay. So when it is a governance of IT, then you are going to see how it is transparent, how you are going to get this resources. Okay. The sanitized old data, old production data is there. So directly it is telling that you cannot do the testing. Proper testing will not take place. Okay. And here the skill gap is going to tell you that how we are going to arrive at that which type of training is required. Okay. More question is there? I think more question. No, how many questions are there? 3. Which of the following? Okay. Then after that, 10. Separation of duties embodies what principle? A. An operator doesn't know more about the system than the minimum required to do. 2 operators are required to work in tandem. And 2 operators' duties are frequently rotated. 2 operators have different duties to prevent the person compromising the system. The last one is the right answer. Okay. That was the direct answer. What is the segregation of duty? So wherever conflict of interest is there, maker and checker, I have time and again I have given example. Okay, cloud computing. We have got 3 service model and 4 deployment model. So in cloud computing, what are these 3 service model? The infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software as a service. Okay. And 4 deployment models we have got. We have got the public cloud, private cloud, community cloud, and hybrid cloud. Hybrid cloud is a combination of either of that 3. Okay. Least security is available in the public cloud. Highest security is available in the least security is available in the public cloud. Highest security is available in the private cloud. Most cheap is the public cloud and most costliest is the private. Okay. Similarly, in the service model, the control over all the services is with the cloud service provider in software as a service. Okay. This is the example of the service model. Okay. So you see in the software as a service, the whole control is there with the provider. Data analytics, you all are using data analytics, you know better than me. Okay. So it is a science of examining raw and unprocessed data. Through that, you are trying to understand the draw some inference from that. Okay. These are the different types of data analytics. Okay. We are having this descriptive, prescriptive, predictive, and cognitive. What to do, why, and how. That is part of the cognitive. Okay. Proactive action is going to be taken. Predictive, what could happen? So you are going to forecast. Prescriptive, how make it happen? So you are going to suggest some actions for that. Okay. And descriptive is from the historical data, some report is going to be generated. Okay. Internet of Things, the two components are there. One is the internet and other is the things. Things are the sensors and is the internet. So IoT devices are there with the sensors. Okay. IoT devices with internet connection and the sensors it is. So when we are going to, it collects the data on the basis of the sensor. It is going to send it through internet, through the IoT gateway. And in the backend, the analysis is going to take place. Okay. The lot of examples are there. IoT devices that you can see the air conditioners, fridge, then the washing machines. These are the examples. In the shopping malls, you will find that is some product you are going to move from one out of the shop without removing that sensor, then it will alarm will buzz up. Okay. So it is the challenge is that these devices are having a least level of security. And a lot of that noise is going to be generated. What does it mean by the noise? That the data which is not of much use or of no use. Okay, that is known as technically it is known as data chats. Okay, so there is no process to do the sanitize that one. Another thing, least security level implementations are there because resources are not available on these devices. Even the data which is transferred from these devices to the through the internet, encryption is not taking place till the time it is not going to reach to the internet hub. Okay, so it is in the clear text. Those challenges are there. And the last chapter is robotics process automation. Okay, so it is about what definition, according to definition, it is process automation. That doesn't mean it is a walking, talking auto robots. It is not the robot. Okay, it is a computer coded software programs that replaces the repetitive work. Okay, which is performed by the human being. It is not a physically existing machine processing paper, something like that. It is a cross-functional and cross-applications macros. The macros, the way you use in the Excel, something like that. It is there. Bots are there. Okay. It is not AI. It is not part of the artificial intelligence. I told you in the what is the difference between AI and that. This difference is there. So it is part of that. This, but it is a process automation. Job of the process automation. So with this, I am completing this one. And there is no alternate to the concept clarity. If you do not have the concept clarity, say this time we have tried our level best to develop the lab manual also. In the back of the lab manual, you will find that certain glossary of words are there, which is going to help you to understand. Okay, you are participant from Sri Lanka. Will ET for us be online, same as ET? I think that query can be replied by the DAB. Okay, so you forward this to the DAB. I will also tell them to send the message to that. Okay, to you. So that very nice to come to know that my participants are here in the program. Okay, and if you have any query, still further queries are there, you can send that mail to DAB. That will come to me immediately. I will reply because this week I am available here. So immediately I am going to reply that one. So there is no replacement to the concept clarity. There is need for the concept clarity. And if you are going to have the concept clarity, and apart from that, for certain concepts, say the risk, if you want to understand, say, if you are aware, I don't know I have told or not, because there is a YouTube channel in the name of Dawn. No, it's my students have created that one. Some 2024 IT videos are there where you will get a clarity. It is 5 minutes, 9 minutes, 2 minutes, 3 minutes videos. You can pass time on that. It is not monetized, so I'm not propagating that one. But it may be helpful to you, particularly for the risk assessment and other things. Okay. Guncha ma'am, any other queries there?
So one of the conceptual queries is, what is brute force attack?
Okay. So brute force means by any means. It's we used to do the hash value mapping. That is known as a rainbow table attack. Means all the hash value you are going to create in one table, and whatever your password is there, you are going to match to that. Somehow you use the social engineering, phishing or wishing or SMSing. Through that you come to know, or you use some tool to crack that one. And even in brute force, the physical torture also comes into the picture. So brute force means by any means. Okay, all whatever the means available, you can use that one. There is no nothing like the ethics or anything. Okay, that attack. And brute force attack, somehow it is going to compromise the system because they use all tools. Okay, even they offer some money if you are going to share the password. Okay, that happens. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Sir, the rest of them are just general queries. Some are saying that please share the link to the question bank. And some of them, some is like, what is the basic upgradation from 2.0 to 3? Is there a link for the same? These kind of things.
No, from 2.3, 2.0 to 3.0, no link is there. Question bank link is there in the DAB, that you can get it from the DAB only. That question bank is there. Some, I think 1,000 questions are there in that you must have reached to that. Okay. So that is the material which is available, and this book is sufficient to pass. Okay. I am telling you, if you read the questions carefully, if you have read the material, there is no if and but about passing the AT exam. It's a 60% only. Okay, it's a 120, and really you will experiment that thing. Watch a 5-year-old guy how going to read the material. Then there will be a change in you. At least 15 to 20 additional marks you are going to get. Okay, this is my time-tested trick. Okay, spend time on reading the STEM. Okay, these questions are direct questions. Okay, there are, and every question is individual questions. So don't mix up with the previous question what you have answered. You concentrate on the questions which is before you and answer that.
The participant also asked for tips for tending to the case study questions in particular.
Case study questions will not come. Case study questions will not come in the exam. But if you need to know the answer of the case study question, that anybody, if you do not have answer of the case study question, then you just write down here. I will share. Right now only I will share with you. Okay. Or if either of you are interested for these slides, what I have shared with you, certain questions are also there. So due to paucity of time, I am not discussing that one, but certain questions are also there. Okay. So I will share this slide also. If you are interested, I can share that. Okay. Just ma'am, allow me a minute.
That's about it, sir. Most of them have been covered. The rest, I think you can be mailed personally.
No, here itself I will operate. We have got 10 minutes time, another 10 minutes time here.
Okay, I'll just check once.
You go through that one. If query is there, you can ask for the queries. Okay. No, it is not allowed to share it.
They've asked to share the PPTs of all the modules which have been shared here.
All the modules PPT is available there at the student folder, so that you can get it. This PPT, what I have used for this session, if you are interested, I can share that one. I will send it to DAB. From there, you can get it. I will ask them to upload it. Okay, because uploading is not available for me here.
Right, sir. And one of the participants have asked that generally we face the problem that we don't have practical exposure. So how can we fix that? especially
No, practical exposure is there in the lab manual. Lab activity is there in all the 5 modules. Lab activity is there. I don't know whether you have attended or done or not done. Maybe you have done it in 2.0. In 3.0, in all 5 modules, we are having lab activity. It is 50% lab activity, 50% concept level.
right, sir. No more concrete questions as such.
Okay.
Right. That's about it, sir.
So should we call it a day?
Yes, I think so.
Okay. Thank you very much. And all the best to all of you. Okay. And if any queries are there, write to DAB. I will reply to that. Okay. Thank you. God bless you. All the best. I am leaving.
Thank you, sir. Once again, I extend my heartfelt gratitude to the eminent faculty and participants at large. Thank you for joining and have a wonderful night. I think we are calling the session off with that.
Thank you, ma'am. God bless you.
Thank you, sir.